And so here we are with round 3 of Swiss, once more taken at Excelsior Games in Bristol on the 11th of October 2014. Myself there on the left playing Dirty NEH, and Josh from Bristol there, local lad, on the right playing Noise with his rather glorious and delightful Alt and 2013 regional playmat. Again, I've actually played Josh previously to this. We went down to a Bristol tournament last month, I believe, in September, and ours was actually the, I guess you could say, quote-unquote top table game. He was going in undefeated, and he was able to 2-0 me, which was, you know, a little bit unfortunate. I did get ridiculously agenda flooded as NBN, so I'm gonna throw an excuse out there while I can. Hey, it's my channel, I'll excuse whatever I damn well please. But yes, so as a result, I know he's a very good player, there's no denying that for a moment, and I knew this was going to be a difficult game. But I guess when you're, 3-0, that's 3-1, sorry, that is what you have to expect. In this game, actually, I'm probably somewhat running on adrenaline, having ran back and forth from the parking place in Bristol, which was somewhat unfortunate, but there we are, I'm absolutely exhausted. It's a long story, which I won't go into just now, but I am going to ice up R&D, play a sweeps week, and also play a hedge fund and take all the monies in the world. If only he was Andy. Looks like he's got a decent opening hand there, though, with a Grimoire and a Cash. So it'll be interesting to see here what he plays. So he'll play an Imp first of all, which is interesting, a surprise. So I'll mill. I'll do my best, hopefully, to try and remember to mill. He will see a Lotus Field, which he will almost certainly there trash with an Imp, and he would have been foolish not to. I probably would have been better off playing that in truth. I think that was probably important to get on the table, but I wanted to play both a sweeps and a hedge fund, to be honest. But that's fine. So anyway, he will run R&D and bounce off an Eli, and I will draw. Looks like I've seen a fast track there. I'll draw again. Not sure what I've drawn up into there. I've got a Sansan there, which I'll install, drawing me a card. And I'll install again. I think it might be a pad campaign there. Obviously, he has got the imp out. I want to try and use it as soon as is feasibly possible. And I appreciate that I know he's going to run the remotes here. And he'd be absolutely right to run the remotes. He's going to run HQ first of all, though, and see a fast track, which he will imp, so that's fine. So it leaves me the Sansan on the board. Like I say, unless he runs it and trashes it, he'll see a marked accounts, which he'll leave. I don't think I've known anyone ever to trash a marked accounts unless they're wizard, to be honest. And he'll play a Cyber Feeder and then pass the turn over to me. I see a Botic Labour. I'm not sure if I've got an Astro. I don't think I do. I've got an APD, which is... there's the Astro. So I've drawn that up, click 1. So the tempting thing here, obviously, is to... actually, I can't afford it, I don't think. To res the Sansan. And, no, I can't afford that. I'm not quite sure where all my money's gone, to be truthful. I'm sure I had more than that. After a hedge fund and a sweeps week. I guess I can't complain. I am on 10 credits, but still, all the same. So I will... Botic Labour, I think I may have missed... I've got 2 Botic Labours, that's why. So a Biotic... No, I can't afford it. I've got this wrong. And I think I'm about to recognise that I've got this wrong. I've got 1 credit shy. So I'm going to take the backsies and show the fact that unfortunately I do have 2 Bartics in hand, which is not ideal. At least he was good enough to let me take it back. But I did my maths wrong there and realised I was a credit shy. He's not going to complain because, and I just drawn up into a Beal, which is less than ideal. So I've got no ice there to put on HQ at the moment. And if he runs aggressively, he could score potentially, 6 points with an NAPD. I obviously can't really take the money for that, but he could certainly score 4. And so I really have given away a terrible misplay on my part. If you're not doing your counting right, then you're doing something wrong. I blame it down to absolute exhaustion. I think I may have ditched the NAPD into archives there. I would imagine that was the case. He will play a cash and I'll mill. Again, I can't tell you what I milled, obviously. I can't remember, I'm afraid. Pretty sure that might have been a Jackson, though. One of them was, I know, that much at least. And he's got another imp on the board, so that's, again, hugely important. He will see a Beal, which he'll score. He's got a medium in hand there, so he's ready to run aggressively against R&D at the very least. I think... To be honest with you there, I think that was possibly a misplay. I think playing the imp, absolutely correct. I think I probably would have just made 3 runs against HQ and try and stop me from scoring out the inevitable Astro, which is exactly what I'm about to do here. Thank you very much. I think if he prevented that from happening in HQ, again, having given away my hand so obviously, I think this could have been a very, very, very different game, and he really could have capitalised on me making an egregious error. So I've got a pop-up window now, which I can put over HQ, and at the very least make things a little bit cheaper. He will, yeah, almost certainly imp the Botic Labour there. Imp a key card against NEH, or against any MBN, obviously, because if invariably you find that the biotics and the fast tracks will find their way into my hand, and if you go in there and attack it, and it really can cause huge problems. I've still got a Sansa on the board, but I'm now at the point where I'm absolutely skint, and so I'm going to have to start thinking about what I'm going to do financially. I'm going to sweep Swig. I think he's got 4 or 5 in hand at the very least. Looks like he's got 5, so that's a sure gamble value, folks, and that's one of the reasons, again, why MBN is just so strong at the moment. So let's see, I've got a guard in hand, which I didn't really rate hugely. It looks like I've got another fast track as well, so that's good. I can Astro Train as soon as I res that Sansan up. He will see a pad campaign, which he'll imp. I think that's probably a misplay. I think you're probably better off just ignoring those. He's going to Parasite the Eli, which is fine. He has got a trash, an old cache or an imp, I think. I think we get to that point in a minute where we just clarify that. Not that it makes a great deal of difference, but it's all good. So I'll install and draw. Oh, it's just so fast. See another marked accounts. And I think at this stage I'm thinking about, okay, I'm going to install there. I believe that might be another Sansan then, potentially. I'm going to res and put 3 on marked accounts and pass the turn over. We haven't quite clicked on that he's over his memory limit at this stage, not that it makes any difference whatsoever. There we go, now we've just clicked, so he's going to trash a cache. Again, it's entirely neither here nor there, having them now all exhausted. He's got a wild side there. I don't hugely rate wild side against NEH. I think it's a huge problem. I'm not going to res that because I know that he cannot trash the Sansan behind it, so that's fine. So I'm not going to res the ice. He knows there's a Sansan there. I think he's on 2 or 3 credits. He's going to take another one. He's going to play the wild side. Again, I'm not sure about wild side against NEH. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a good card. I just think that it's too slow and it causes real problems. I mean, obviously annoys. The idea is you build up your viruses, you keep installing, you're making me mill, which is all very good. But losing that click could actually be crippling, to be truthful. Against NEH, and can cause all manner of problems. I'm just trying to sort out. Here we go. So I'm just going to put a 3 there. So I've got 2 marked accounts up and running. And again, it's just not appetizing to run them in the slightest. It really isn't. I mean, who wants to pay 5 to trash a marked account, really? Like I say, unless you're a wizard, or if you've got an absolute plethora or a surplus of imps to use, and you've got nothing better to do with them. But I think that's very rare. So I've got a res Sansan, I've got a fast track, and I've got a scored Astro. This is looking relatively good. Even I'm not sure obviously what he's milled in archives, and it could be that he's in good shape in reality. But obviously until he runs it, he's not going to know. The longer he goes, the more likely I am to see that Jackson Howard. I think he probably should have done it sooner rather than later. And look at that, Cal surprise. So he will run and see everything he's milled, and unfortunately he hasn't had a lot of luck. He sees an NAPD, which he cannot steal. I think that's when I actually voluntary. I put in there voluntary. So he has been unlucky here with his mills. There's no denying that. And he puts the NAPD on top, and I say, yep, that's absolutely fine. And it's just, again, you can put your NAPDs wherever you want, because if they do steal them, they're going to be so far behind on the Astro curve that it's not going to make a great deal of difference. As soon as that first Astro scored, you've got a clock. You've got a real clock. So I will take my money off marked accounts, and I'll do my mandatory draw, seeing an Astro which is beyond sick, and I'm obviously just debating here whether to res the Sansan or whether just to score out with an Astro counter. I think I'm going to res the Sansan. Again, I've got the money, so I might as well. I've got 2 coming in from marked accounts next turn anyway, so I will pay 2, and I'll score Astro number 2, and it's the second time today that I have 2 scored Astros with both counters on, so I'm not going to complain there. So he'll usually draw 2 with his wild side first click, and I mean that's just a sight to depress even the most hardened competitive soul. A res Sansan and 2 scored Astros, yeah, and I've got a fast track in hand, which he doesn't know, but if he did, I suspect that would probably depress him further. So all I've got to do is go and fetch a Beal. Another Astro obviously would be first choice there, but another Astro, and yeah, score that out for 1. I've got another 2 credits coming in, so I'm fine financially. And again, you can see here the decision paralysis. I think at this stage you have to just kind of face the fact that you've probably lost the game. So I'll obviously fast track, as I've already described. Go and look for Astro number 3. All aboard the Astro train, ladies and gentlemen. Choo, choo, choo. Choo, chuffin' choo. And again, with the amount of accesses he's had, he's a little bit unlucky not to have seen any more agendas in R&D. But then that is part of the problem with noise, is that it can be a little bit random. But that's still 2 scored Astros, 6 points to 2, and he knows he has to win this turn, really, realistically. I mean, again, he might have more of a chance, but it's not going great. So he's got a wild side first click. And again, this is the kind of point where you really don't want to be wild-siding. But he hasn't got a choice. Like I say, this is the stage where wild-side becomes a real problem. Where all you actually want to do at this point is run, find your key cards to break with. He's got a parasite in hand there, so it's not like he's going to be short of options at the very least. He will run R&D, I won't res. He will see a card, which is nothing. I don't think I'm in a position to res whatever that is there. I think it might be an Eli, to be honest. He will play a medium. And again, if he'd played that first, I mean, what's the worst that could possibly happen? Yes, I could res the ice, but he's still going to see the same card. He could have seen another card there and start trying to R&D lock me. I mean, playing a medium's the right call, but again, he probably should have done it in the right order. He'll discard, I think, Hades Shard, isn't it? Not sure. But anyway, so I've won 3 credits, and he potentially could R&D lock me, so I've got to be careful around that. I've got to make sure that I'm in a position to keep him out of R&D while I'm waiting for either the fast track, actually, which I don't think I have. I think both fast tracks have gone now. I've only got 2 in this deck, which I probably should have more. I probably should have 3. The temptation here, obviously, is to take 2 and hedge fund. I'm going to draw. I think that's probably a mistake, but the Enigma I've just drawn into could be very useful. So I'm going to install and take a credit past the turn. Mainly, again, keeping him out here of R&D is the ball game. So hang on, he's got a wild side first click, yeah. So again, instant reaction. I want to run R&D. I want to run it first click. I want to see what's there. And now, not only that, but he sees an Enigma and he's lost another click. So he's got 1 click left, and that's his whole turn gone pretty much. And he just doesn't have that kind of time. So he does the right thing. He parasites the Enigma on mill. It's absolutely the right choice. I've got another Enigma there, so I could just be really annoying and put it on top of R&D, but I need to start building up my finances now. I've got a pop-up window, which is quite nice. So I'm going to put... I think I'm just going to take 3, yeah. I'm not going to bother with the marked accounts at this stage. It's just a case of waiting for the agenda, and the money's probably more useful than anything else now. So, parasite counter there. He's going to ditch a Grimoire. I think he was still discarding from the previous turn. Certainly hasn't got time for Grimoire anymore. And I was surprised to not see him play it earlier, to be honest, but there we are. So, again, it's just waiting now. Waiting to see an agenda. I can score out any PD, I can score out anything, to be honest. I'm just waiting to see the final agenda to win the game, and I think he knows it. If he doesn't get into R&D, he's going to lose. And, somewhat resigned to that fate, I would suggest. He knows there's an NEPD, obviously, in Archives, but he doesn't need to go in and take it yet. He won't go in and take it until he scores at least another 4 points, 3 points. 3 points, yeah, that would make sense. There you go, see my math skills, mighty math powers. So he's going to run Archives. He still hasn't got any joy or any luck out of his mills. The sun is shining, unfortunately, on my map there, but he will score the NEPD for 4 credits. I guess he was just hoping there that he got a little bit lucky. I haven't seen any Jacksons. I'm pretty sure he milled a couple of them. He's going to express delivery, which, again, I'm not quite sure what he's looking for here. I'm surprised he's... I mean, again, it's right not to run against HQ. He knows that obviously if I'd seen an agenda in hand, I would have already scored it. So I mean, that is correct. But at the same time, he's struggling here. He's going to play Data Sucker, and I'm going to mill. And just hoping that he mills all my non-agenda cards so that I see an agenda off the top, and that's an NEPD, and that's the game. So, again, it was a difficult situation for him. I've got enough Astro tokens to score, you know, a hefty agenda there. But that's NEH for you folks. There's not a great deal he could have done there, other than, like I say, get a little bit more fortunate with his mills with noise. But yeah, it hurts. I'm really not sure about Wildside against NEH. You know, I think against everyone else, absolutely fine, but not necessarily NEH. But that's fine. That takes me to 4-1, taking me now into the runner game. And I'm expecting more and more corp splits, because I think that's just the way of things at the moment. But here we are. Join us for Game 2 of the final round of Swifts. And in the meantime, please go and have a look at Netrunners.co.uk. We've got forums and articles and more. Please join us there, and I'll see you soon.